The sounds of cricket. Leather on willow, the clunk of a stump, and the dulcet tones of commentator Henry Blofeld.
And it's Henry Roberts now from the Dandenong Hills. He bows McCosker to get in the air.
Australia all out for 111.
Blowers, as he's more affectionately known to fans, players and broadcasters alike. He was one of my favourite commentators growing up. I was also fortunate to work with him on Test Match Special, and he's invited me around to his house, of course, for a cricket tea.
During his 47-year career, Henry commentated on thousands of matches for BBC 5 Live Test Match Special, and his house is full of memorabilia from that time.
That's the five of us, the commentary team at the Oval. It's a lovely photograph to have.
You've got a new book coming out about your love of cricket, but I want to go right back to the start. I want to know where it all started for you.
I was dragged by my parents, probably unwillingly at first, to go and see the village, Houghton and Wroxham, play cricket. And I fell in love with the game. In June 1948, I found myself at Lord's watching the third day of the second test of England against Australia.
Little did 9-year-old Henry know that just like that little wooden urn that England and Australia vie for during the Ashes, he too would become part of cricketing folklore.
You did play the game as well.
I played for the public schools in their representative game against the combined services in 1956, and everyone thought I was going to be rather good.
But Henry's potential cricket career came to a crashing end when he was knocked off his bike in June 1957.
I was unconscious for weeks, and it was awfully boring. And well, when I came to, I was not the same cricketer at all.
You, of course, then went into the media. How did that come about?
Well, I suddenly thought the only thing I've ever been any good at was cricket. And one or two of my friends wrote about it. Why the dickens shouldn't I?
Henry began writing cricket reports for several newspapers before switching to broadcasting in 1972.
The greatest compliment you can be paid by a listener is you made me feel I was there. And to do that, you've got to make sure that your listeners know exactly where you are and what you can see. And this is partly my excuse for talking about birds, buses, and all the rest.
Good heavens, there's a fourth one appearing. There's a convention of buses at the nursery.
Your favourite moment commentating?
Oh, that's easy. It was 81 at Headingley. That amazing test match when we'd lost it out of sight after 2.5 days. And then Beefy Blofeld goes and gets that 149 not out.
Right bow, the middle stumps out of the ground, England have won, and Australia all out for 111.
That was the greatest moment, it had to be. It was the most extraordinary test match I think I've ever seen.
For Henry's wife Valeria, she's had to get used to having a husband with a famous voice.
You know, when I met him, I didn't know who he was, and suddenly there were all these, blowers, 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 and wherever we went, all they had to do was hear the voice, and they knew who he was.
When he's at home, does he sometimes commentate on things that are going on at
Around you when we're driving, he'll say, to the left, you have the Norwich cricket team. So I think that commentating is very natural for Henry.
Since retiring in 2017, Henry still likes to get out and watch teams play.
How do you think that the game has evolved, and what are your thoughts on it?
I do think that Test cricket is still the gold standard of the game because it still maintains, even with baseball, a balance between bat and ball.
And Henry's delighted that the women's game is finally getting the kudos it deserves.
It's wonderful the way the ladies' game has come on, and it is now very much an entity, an entertainment entity in its own right, which it perhaps wasn't so much 20, 30 years ago.
So, Blowers, what do you think about this? Can we pull you out of retirement and give us a few lines of commentary?
Well, do you think so? He's in now and he bowls, and that's brilliant. And I think that got him, it has, hasn't it? A wicket, my goodness me, that was very well bowled. He had an expansive drive, hit the off stump, and so he is out. I tell you, what a start.
Well, it's been such a pleasure listening to the legacy of a man who I've spent countless hours listening to. For me and so many others, he will always remain the voice of cricket.